Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Stamp and Flip workshop. This is episode 7. It's July 16th, 2025. Okay, so I decided that since it's July, we should be making Christmas cards. So we're going to do some Christmas in July today. And then I also have some samples that are not Christmassy to show you at the end. But this is my Stamp and Flip workshop where we take one piece of 12 by 12 designer series paper and we cut it in half and we make some cards with the front side of the paper, and then we make some cards with the back side of the paper. Because Stampin' Up's paper is so beautiful, I can never decide which side to use. So why not cut it in half and use both sides? Okay, so that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to take a 12 by 12 Christmas paper. This is last year's Christmas paper because this year's Christmas paper has not come out yet. So we're going to use last year's Christmas paper. This is called Reindeer Days, I think. Let me check. Yep, Reindeer Days. Okay, so let's turn the camera down and see what we're doing here. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, maybe too far. There we go. And are we straight? There we go. Kind of. Every time I move it, it gets crooked. All right, there we go. All right, so this is the piece of paper that we're going to be using tonight. This is from, as I said, Reindeer Days. It's got these beautiful reindeer on the front side, and then the back is this really nice holly on the back. So both sides are really pretty, and it's a shame not to use both sides. So we're going to just cut it in half and make 2 sets of cards. So on my Crafty Crack and Create page, Facebook page, up in the files section, you will find the template. This is the cutting template for July. So as you can see, we're going to make the first cut here at 2 inches, and then we're going to cut this strip up, and then we're going to cut this other side up to get our pieces for our cards. So this layout is going to make either 6 or 7 full-size cards. You can make 6 full-size cards and then use this little 2 by 2 piece to make a gift enclosure card, a 3 by 3 card, or you can use this creatively on the front of a full-size card. And I'm going to show you a couple ways to do that. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Let's bring in our cutter, my trimmer, and let's trim this up. All right, let's move up a little smidge here so you can see, hopefully. Let me move this back. There we go. Hopefully we can see most of the paper. All right, so on our template, you can see we're going to make the first cut at 2 inches. But first, we're going to cut our 12 by 12 piece in half. So we're going to line this up right at 6 inches, which on my trimmer is lining it up right up to the edge and getting this top right up to the top. And then we're going to just cut that in half. So we'll use both sides. All right, we'll put this other side aside for now. So you're going to take this 6 by 12 piece and we're going to cut it at 2 inches. So we're going to line this up right at 2 inches. Just make sure that it's right up to the top so your cut is straight. And we're going to cut that at 2 inches. So you'll get this little strip and then you'll have this other side. So now this 2-inch strip, you can see we're going to cut this at 5 inches, 5 inches, and then that's going to leave us with this 2-inch square. So we'll turn this and we'll cut it at 5. And then we'll cut it again at 5. which is going to leave us this 2-inch little square here. Okay. Then on this side, we've got a 4-inch piece here. We're going to turn that and we're going to cut it at 2 1/4. Hard to see because I covered it up, 2 1/4. And then 2 1/4. Then the next cut is 3 3/4, which is going to leave you with another 3 3/4 inch piece. So you'll get 2 squares like that are 3 3/4 by 4. Okay, so those are all your pieces. So as I said, you're going to make either 6 or 7 cards. So we're going to, actually, let me cut my second piece as well while we're here so we can talk about both sides. All right, so again, we'll cut this at 2 inches. Just line this up at the top. Make sure it's straight. Okay, then my 2-inch strip, we're going to cut at 5. And again at 5, which is going to leave us this little 2-inch square. And then our 4-inch strip, we're going to cut at 2 1/4 for the first cut. And then again at, why is something sticky here? Something sticky all of a sudden. 2 1/4. And then 3 3/4, which is going to leave us this last 3 3/4 piece. Okay, so now we've got all our pieces from both sides. I'm going to set my template aside. All right, so as I said, we are going to make 6 or 7 cards. So you'll want to have card bases. So for this side of the paper with the reindeers, I had pool party card bases because this background here on this paper is pool party. And then we've got some real red, some garden green, and some granny apple green. Okay, so we've got some card bases. And then I've also cut some mats, pre-cut some mats. These are 5 1/4 by 4. This is just a basic white. And then I've cut a couple that are granny apple green to highlight the paper. So, okay, so let's get started. We've got our first card. We will use one of these 5 by 2 inch pieces. So we can mount that either straight to our card or we can put that on a little mat. So the first one, I think I'm going to go ahead and mount it right to the card, but I'm going to spruce it up a teeny bit by making this a little banner. So I'm going to cut right in the middle at the bottom, and I'm going to create a little banner with this from cutting from the edge, this little corner, up to where I just cut the top of my cut on this side. And then, oh, I missed it by a smidge. And then on this side, and that's going to make me this little banner shape, which I am then going to attach to the front of my card. So that's a quick and easy way to make one of your pieces a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to do this upside down so that I can get this right to the edge here. And then I'm just going to make sure, push it down, make sure that it's right to the edge and it's straight. So that's one little card base. So on our second one, let's go ahead, I got tape stuck to me. Let's go ahead and make a little mat for this piece. So this piece was 2 by 5. So for a mat, we would want a little piece that's 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. So we'll get a little scrap out. And we'll do 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. And this will give this just a little bit more interest by adding another color to the front of your card. So you can adhere this to your mat. And then we can adhere that right to the front of our card. And again, I'm going to go over here, kind of get this oriented to the left-hand side. There's card number 2. Okay, so we're going to hang on to this little piece until the end. Now we've got these pieces that are going landscape. So we've got one that we can put either here on the top, we could put it toward the bottom, or we could orient it to the middle like that. Or we can turn our whole piece landscape and go across this way if we'd like. So that is completely up to you. I'm going to do one where we mat it toward the top. But what I'm going to do is take a piece of basic white, and I'm going to put this at the top of my basic white mat. And then I'm going to adhere it to the card front. And what I can do here is I can, instead of making myself a sentiment to stick onto the card, I can put my sentiment right here on this mat. So let's do that before we adhere our piece. Always a good idea to stamp first, just in case you make a boo-boo. So I'm going to use some real red ink. And I'm going to use, this is the Reindeer Fun set that coordinated with the paper. And it's got some really pretty images and some great sentiments. So we've got Christmas is better together. May all your days be full of cheer. And then Merry Christmas. So I think I'm going to do may all your days be full of cheer. We'll ink that up. And we know that we want it to be under there. Okay, so we've got that sentiment stamped. And then we can adhere our cardstock. I mean our DSP to our cardstock. Okay, again, I'm going to do this upside down so that I can get it right to the edge. Easier for me to see when it's right in front of me. And we're going to line that up right to each corner and then to the edge. Now that should fit completely on there, but if you get a little bit that's hanging off, you're just going to snip that off with your snips. There we go. I don't know why that happens sometimes. I think our paper is just not exactly 12 inches, or my cut was just a smidge off. Okay. So then we will get that onto our card front. And that's just a nice, simple, and beautiful Christmas card. There we go. Okay, so the next piece, I've got the same size, and then we could go to the bottom if we like, or we could do this landscape this way. And I do have some other little matte pieces. We could use a matte for that and go this way if we'd like. Or we can go this way. Oh, it's hard to decide what we like. That's cute. We could go to the bottom. So many different choices we've got here. So I think I'm going to go landscape because we don't have one of those yet. And we'll just go right in the middle here. Get this straight before I glue it on crooked. All right, so we're going to line up my paper on my grid paper so that I can make sure that I'm getting this lined up as well. And just get that right in the middle. And then we will adhere to the front of the card. I don't know about you guys, but I think using cutting templates just makes life easier. You already have your pieces cut, and then you just have to figure out, do I want a mat or a no mat? And boom, you've got a card. Okay, so then we've got these 3 3/4 by 4 pieces. And again, we could mat this onto, adhere this to a mat on the front and do very similar to what we did before. Just stamp our sentiment here. But maybe we should go to the bottom this time and stamp the sentiment at the top to be a little bit different. All right, let's do that. And we can use the same sentiment. I think it should fit. Yeah. I always want to put my hand right in there. All right, let's line that up and stamp. And then we'll adhere our designer series paper to that. And just line it up corner to corner, unless it's a little big. And this one seems like it might be just a smidge over. Just trim that off. Okay. And then adhere to your card base. There you go. Okay, and then the last one. So I like this also landscape. I thought I brought a little piece of, oh yeah, I did. So I have a little piece of garden green. This strip is 1 inch by 5.5 inches. So it'll go all the way across the front of my card. And then I could add this piece here. That was my plan. I think that's cute. Of course, you can make this strip any size you'd like. You want it a little wider. Just line that up so it's straight. And then adhere your piece to the top of that. Okay, and then just try and eyeball that into the middle there. And there you've got your cards. So we've got 5 cards that are full size. Okay, so then what to do with this little piece that we've got left over? So we could put this onto a 3x3 little gift enclosure card, which I didn't make. Let's cut one so I can show you. So you would cut this at 3 inches by 6 inches. And then you would score it in half at 3 inches. And that would be a little 3x3 gift enclosure card that you could tuck into the top of a gift bag or on the top of a present underneath a little bow. So there you go. You can do this. We can get a little mat for that, which would be 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Is this piece big enough? No. So we'll go 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. No, what am I doing? I did this last night too. So no, this is a 2-inch piece. You want 2 1/4. Oi. By 2 1/4. See, I knew I had that other piece out for a reason. My brain wasn't braining. Okay. There we go. So we would mat this and then adhere. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get that in the center. And then right onto your little card. And this would be cute. I love these little cards instead of just a tag on the top of a present. Okay, so there you've got your little gift enclosure card. Okay, so let's put those aside for a moment. Let's work on this other side. So for these, I chose white card pieces. And then I've got some garden green and some real red mats to use on those. Or you can just use no mats, which is also acceptable. Okay, so again, we've got these 2 by 5 inch pieces. The last time I did a banner here, and then I also matted this on the side. But let's do this one without a mat. Look how pretty it is, just plain on your card base. Nice and simple. Just line this up so you get it kind of equidistant from the top, bottom, and side. There you go. And then the other strip we could do in the middle, or we could do this way. We could go landscape. maybe to the top this time and put our sentiment at the bottom here. Let's try that. Okay, so we will stamp again. And everybody hold your breath, because when I stamp right on the card base, I get very nervous. So that would be the time that I would mess it up, right? All right, let's get some good ink. And just stamp right there. There we go. Phew. Now, if I did mess it up, what I would do is create a card mat here, and then just cover that right up. Okay, so we're going to take this piece and adhere it on top of that. There we go. Okay, so then I'm going to hang on to my little 2-inch piece, and then we've got our, I forgot what they are, 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece. So we can go to the top here, or we could go to the side. And what did I do on one of these? Let me think what I did. Oh, I went in the middle. Okay, so we just did here. We went in the middle with this, like so. Let's do that. Again, you could stamp your sentiment right on the card base, or you can add a popped up shape for a sentiment. Okay, so we'll just do that one. And then on this one, let's do a short banner this time. Let's make a banner out of this one. I'm just going to cut straight up in the middle of this side, and then I'm going to cut from the corner right to the top of my cut there. I never get it lined up because I have to really see it under my nose to get it lined up. Let me fix this. There we go. And then from this other corner, there we go. Okay, and I think I'm going to put that right in the middle this time instead of to the side. Okay, just eyeball kind of where the middle is. I might be a little bit off there, but that's all right. Okay, and then your last 2 pieces again. Let's use some card mats. So we'll do one green. Let's put this one in the middle. So if you use a card mat, this piece is going to be 4 inches, which is going to go all the way across. So you could leave it like this with your 2 pieces just plain at the top and the bottom, or you can move it to the top or to the bottom. Let's go in the middle this time, be a little bit different. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining. We're doing Christmas in July because I haven't made any Christmas cards, and like I'm already behind for Christmas. How is that possible? We're using the Reindeer Days paper from last year, one of my favorite packs. Okay, and then we'll just get that mat right on the front here. And then on this last one, we can use a red. I was going to say, why do I have 2 left? I forgot because I was going to show you a full-size card. Okay, so then we've got the red. So we went this way last time. Let's change it up. And because we've got an all-over pattern, we can twirl this around and make it go a different way. So we can go to the top here and we'll leave ourselves a little border, and then we can put a sentiment at the bottom. So if you've got an all over pattern on your paper, you have a lot more options, which we didn't have with the other side of the paper because it was just a one-way pattern. Okay, and then we'll just adhere this. Okay, so then where you've got your little 2x2 piece left, and you've got a full-size card base. So you've got a couple options here. I'm going to, maybe I'll make it red. I'm going to create a tag to go on the front of my card. So we're going to do the mat on the card. And then we're going to create a little tag. So this is 2x2, and I happen to have a punch that will do a tag top for a 2-inch piece of paper. So you can get punches that create these tag tops. This has got, oh, I don't know if you can see. It's got a little punch out for, it's going to create the little top of a tag for you. And there are also dies that you can purchase that would be the same. So you're going to cut a 2-inch piece of paper. We're going to do basic white. And we're going to just put that into our die. I usually flip it over so I can make sure that it's lined up, and then we will punch that. And it's going to come out with this little hole and look like a little tag. So of course you can use this just as a tag, or you can attach it to your card. So this is a little bit long. We're going to just cut that off. And we're going to make it, what should we make it? 4 inches? Let's go to 3 3/4. Okay, so we're going to create a little tag that we'll add to the front of our card. So we'll just put this right onto this tag. Should fit perfectly. Oh, we should stamp first. Got all excited. We should stamp first. And do I have it? Oh, look at that. It's going to be perfect. It's going to fit perfectly on there. Didn't plan that. That just worked out. All right, so Christmas is better together. I love the font on this one. I can't wait to see what's going to be up for Christmas 2025. All right, and we'll just add our little piece of 2x2 paper here. And then of course we're going to want to put a little piece of ribbon on there. So we've got some ribbon from last year. I've got some, I'm not crazy about the polka dots. Let's just use plain red. Do some plain red. So you need about, this is 4.5 inches, maybe 5 inches of ribbon to go through your little tag. And then I like to make it a little fancy. So I'm going to find some twine. And I've got, oh, I have some garden green. or I've got some gold. Let's use some gold. Let's make it real fancy. Okay, so what I do when I'm working with this is I work this into a little tag. It's got that little indentation where your ribbon is going to go. And then I put a block down on top of it so that I can hold it still while I'm working on it. So I think you need about 8 inches or so of twine. I'm going to put that underneath. And then I'm going to tie a little bow. I say so confidently. It never works out as great as I want it to when I'm live. All right. Oh, imagine that. Look at that. Ta-da. All right, perfect. So there's my little tag, and I'm just going to put that right on the front of the card, just like that. There we go. Okay, so here are the 7 cards that we created with the backside of the paper. Okay, now all we need to do is add some sentiments and decorate them however you'd like. So let me show you. So this one we've already done a sentiment on, and that one we've already done a sentiment on. On these 2, I've cut some shapes so we could do some little, these were cut with the Stylish Shapes dies. I've got some squares and some circles and a couple of banners. So we could add some sentiments to the front of our cards this way. So this guy, I was thinking I was going to put something right here, but that's going to cover up that little reindeer. So maybe we have to go to the side or to the bottom, or maybe underneath. Let's try that. So we'll add a sentiment here. I think this one should fit. So you can leave these as simple as you like, or decorate them up with some stamped sentiments on some die cut pieces. We'll put this on some dimensionals. There you go. Well, let's do this one. Just real quick, we'll do a circle on here. Let's see what will fit in this circle. I think this Christmas is better together will fit in here. Okay. So you can just leave them like that, or of course you've got some bling you can add, which I did not bring any bling because I don't have any leftover Christmas bling from last year. And I don't know if I've got any gold. I don't know. I didn't look. All right, let's see. There we go. So I'll finish these last couple. But there are those. And then these, again, you can leave them simple with some sentiments. Did I stamp any other ones? No. With some sentiments, or you can make them a little more Interesting. This particular pack of paper had this piece that you could fussy cut some reindeer out of. So I have cut some reindeer for us. So we could add a little sentiment and a reindeer. Let's stamp the Christmas is better together again. And some dimensionals. I lost them. There we go. So yesterday I lost a die again. It's amazing how you can lose things when you don't move. You don't move. You're sitting in one place and yet things get lost. Just cover things up. Okay, so let's add this right. Actually, I'm going to move it over a smidge. So maybe we can get that little reindeer on here. He's so cute. So we have a couple different ones. We've got some. Oh, I like him. Yep, that's the one. All right, so let's get some dimensionals on this one. We don't need any on his head here. We just need some on his body. And maybe his face. Okay. So you get the idea. You've got all kinds of options with this. You can make it as simple as you'd like, or you can decorate it with some little images. This paper also on the other side of the deer had some little packages. So you could fussy cut some little packages out of the paper and that add those to your card as well. That was pretty cute. All right, I'm not loving it here. One moment, let's find another one. Now I'm just excited about the packages. No, we're going back, going on this one. Okay, packages. And I'm going to put them right in the middle here with some dimensionals. So that'll pop that up off the background and give you enough contrast, I think. And maybe this one just needs maybe a big one. There we go. Okay. So you get the idea. So you can decorate them up or leave them as simple as you'd like. All right. And then my last tip, I've got these all mixed up now, is for your little 2-inch piece. Of course, we said we can do the 3x3 card or we can do the tag. If you're doing multiple pieces of paper in the same pack, you will end up with multiple little 2x2 pieces. So you could also hang on to them and then you would be able to do a card with 4 different pieces. Something like that. Or you could use 2 side by side on a card. So depending on how many pieces of designer series paper you're cutting up, you'll have little pieces and you can decide what to do with them, whether to use them all together or use them singly on a card or a tag. Okay. All right. So that was Christmas in July. Let me show you real quick. And the ones that I created for samples for this fall. Okay, so this first set was with the just retired bee paper. So this is your 2x5 inch piece that I cut a little banner out of and went put that on the side with my sentiment. Again, the 2x5 piece with a little mat with just a sentiment. And then this one was your 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece mounted at the top of the mat. And then I just did my sentiment and a little bow to just give it a little bit of interest. Then this was the other 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece, adhered to the middle of the mat with a little sentiment, with just a little ribbon for interest there. And then this one was your 3 3/4 by 4, again with that band across the middle with a sentiment. And this one had more images, so I could put my there. And then this last one, your 3 3/4 by 4-inch piece mounted at the top of your mat with a little sentiment and a little ribbon. And then in that set, I did do a little gift enclosure again with the 2 by 2-inch piece there. On the other, for the other side, I did, this is the 5 by 2-inch piece with a little bit of ribbon in the middle and a sentiment there. This one was your 5 by 2-inch piece matted. And then I just stamped my little bee and used the punch to punch him out and just did some stamping on the card front there. And this one, we did the 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece at the top of your mat with your sentiment. And then I used some stamps in that set to create some images across the bottom of the mat. And then this one, 2 1/4 by 4-inch piece, we did a banner in the middle with a sentiment. And then this is the 3 3/4 by 4-inch piece at the top of a mat with your sentiment, just a little bit of stamping and your punched image. And then this one, same size piece mounted in the middle. This piece, oh, let me see. This little mat piece is, what is this? 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. And this was just a piece that was sitting on my desk. And I said, oh, that will work. And you just get this interesting little strips at the top of your DSP piece, which I think gives it a really cute little look, a little bit different. And then this last one with the little tag on the front. This one, I mounted the tag, the 2 by 2 piece on a little mat that is 2 by 2 1/4, and put my DSP on there and then put it onto my tag with my little image here. Okay, so that's it. That's a lot of cards. I will finish up these Christmas cards and I will put them on the Crafty Kraken Create page so you can see them when they are completed. Okay, if you guys try the template and make some cards, I hope that you will share them. Oh, got so dark all of a sudden. I hope that you'll share them on the page as well. I'd love to see what paper you guys choose. I'm trying to use up a bunch of old retired paper, but you can always use new paper for a one-sheet wonder. And I'd love to see what you make. So if you do make them, post them on the page so I can see them. All right, so that's it for me tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed that template. I think it makes some good sized pieces to use on some card fronts, and I hope that you get some cards created. All right, until next month in August. Oh, I don't know what date it's going to be. Let me take a look. Can I tell? Oh, let's see. It will be August 20th will be the next Stampin' Flip. And so I'll see you on August 20th. All righty. So until then, stay crafty, my friends. See you on Friday.